Hi, this is MrByZ, and today I want to take a look at all the different Ywings that have come out through Hasbro through the years. Hasbro and Kenner. We're going to go back to the vintage one here. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. Sometimes I forget I really don't have anything. This is my vintage Ywing, and you see it's missing something. It's missing those rear engines or nacelles, whatever you want to call them. I've never had them. One of these days I'll look it up, see if I can pick them up. For a while I'd bought an extra Hasbro Ywing from the 90s, and I had its struts and everything on there, but I had actually put that on the regular Ywing and left it like that. I'm gonna look and see if I can find actual vintage ones at some point, but I mean most of the ship is here, so I can cover it. A couple things. So we have our cockpit here, and you can see the stickers inside, and we do have a rotating cannon right here. No rear seat. I know there's a lot of early stuff that shows a rear seat on a Ywing, but not the toy. We do have a slot for a droid, so you could put the vintage R2 or R5D4 in there. If you press this, press this button, it releases a bomb. Now, I don't have, actually I have a piece of the vintage bomb, but the vintage bomb looks just like this. This is actually the modern one. They use the exact same mold, so I can just show you. And it would just clip in underneath there. You press that little orange button there and it releases. This button was one that you could press to get sound. Again, that sound is just a little gear on Mylar to get that, so it's not that big a deal. Now we do have this lever right here. And my Ywing tends to be cranky, but you can notice the landing gear went down as I did that. Now, on these old Ywings, that rear landing gear doesn't like to stay up really well. In general, it needs a little help. Pull them out. You have a front landing gear that comes down with that too. So if I push that in, they all go in. It works okay. It's not the best. It does have the battery compartment on the underneath. And as you can see, there's lots of detail. You know, back in the vintage days on this, they put a lot of detail into it, which is why in the modern ones, we got... you know, basically this the same thing, the same molds and everything. It's a nice ship. You know, they've updated it slightly, as you'll see in a little bit, but never like a full redo of the mold. So that's the start. This is the vintage Kenner Ywing. So the first Ywing to come out for Power of the Force 2 was this one. I want to say it was about 99. I could be off in that. But again, it's just the old vintage mold reused here. Only the droid socket's now filled with a stationary droid. The head does move on the droid. We still have a cockpit. I actually have the figure that came with it in here, a very generic, supposedly gold leader, I think. But, you know, we still have the bomb that drops. We still have the landing gear that pops down with the lever there. So we have that. And the rotating turret. No electronics in this. You can just press this to drop the bomb. It looks like there could be electronics, as that you could see where the battery compartment was in the vintage one, but nope, not this time. It's it's just an empty cavity right now. But yeah, 1999, that's when this came out. It was nice to finally get a Ywing. I never had one as a kid, so it was really cool, as you can tell by my vintage one, which doesn't have any nacelles on it. So I was really excited to get these, so excited I bought like 2 or 3 of them. I think I've sold one off at some point, but I still have these, 2 of them at least. Now, about 2004, we get this Ywing. Kind of different color scheme with the red and blue, and the body is more of a metallic, gunmetal, I guess you'd call it. Still a stationary droid. Everything else is exactly the same. Still has the same bomb drop, the same landing gear. It's just a new paint job, and this came with a fairly generic pilot as well. So not a whole lot here, just a new paint job. Now, a couple years later, Hasbro gives us what's pretty much an update to the gold X-Wing. It has a new astromech in its slot, and this was a little different in that it came, obviously we have the astromech here, stationary in there, but also came with a single version of the actual astromech that you could take out and play with it. It came with a figure, I don't know where he is right now, but a much better paint job. Again, beyond that, it's the same thing, only it's got longer guns on the front, which are more film accurate, as well as the paint job. This is a great washover, great paint job. I don't see the really good weathering like this so much anymore, but it does look very good. Our final Ywing is this one, which came in vintage collection packaging. I want to say it was a Kmart exclusive. I don't remember off the top of my head. And finally, we have, after all these years, the removable droid out of the socket. Now, he's supposed to have an antenna here. I'm not sure where it is. I'm sure I've got it somewhere. But that's really nice that we finally are able to put a droid in and out. This does have the longer guns like the last one. Completely different paint job. I think this is supposed to be more of a Return of the Jedi paint job for a Ywing. Very good weathering on this. It does have a figure in here. I'm not sure if it's the one came with it. I'll look at him. Maybe. There we go. No, that's not the figure that came with it. But you can see in the cockpit, we have an updated cockpit. We have more here. We actually have kind of a joystick. We have a targeting computer right here that can go in and out. No electronics still. Same bomb, same landing gear and all that. But still, it's a very cool Y-Wing. It was a great update to this vehicle. It was right around the time they seem to be updating the cockpits of all these. If you watch all of my different starships, you'll see that the Y-Wing got updated, the A-Wing got updated, the X-Wing even got an update, and the B-Wing got an update. Mostly for the cockpit, just giving better detail inside that cockpit. So that's my look back at the different Y-Wings that have come out. There's been a few, not as many as the X-Wing. If you want to check that out, I just did a couple episodes ago, a whole retrospective on the X-Wing. I'm going to do a few more of these. I've been working on one for the B-Wing, for the A-Wing, even for the TIE Fighter. I might have to split that up in a couple because it's really long right now. But I'll probably be looking at doing the A-Wing next week. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, subscribe. Let your friends know to subscribe if you think they'll enjoy this. Share it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'd be glad to answer any questions. And, you know, if it did something wrong, if you thought, oh, God, he's so wrong, that's so stupid, say it. Go ahead. Point it out. I'm glad to be pointed out when I'm wrong because I'll respond. Say, hey, thanks. You know, I like to learn as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, keep on collecting for fun.